Mickey Mouse pulled the plug, and Jimmy Kimmel's not happy. ABC suspended his late-night show indefinitely. He was spotted storming out of the studio last night and hopping into a getaway car. Even across the pond, Trump couldn't resist.
Jimmy Kimmel was fired because he had bad ratings more than anything else, and he said a horrible thing about a great gentleman known as Charlie Kirk. And Jimmy Kimmel is not a talented person. He had very bad ratings, and they should have fired him a long time ago.
So why'd Kimmel get benched? He falsely framed you for killing Charlie.
We had some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it.
Almost half of ABC's affiliates were threatening to black out his show that night. Advertisers were burning up the phones. ABC executives were getting flooded with emails. Disney boss Bob Iger wanted Kimmel to apologize, but Kimmel said, "No way, Bob."
Jimmy wanted to go on his show last night, and in his monologue, I hear that he wanted to address the backlash from the right regarding his commentary about Charlie Kirk's charged killer. And I hear that that monologue was very hot. It very much took aim at MAGA, and that is when the executives said, we can't have him go on the air tonight.
Little Jimmy Kimmel thought he was bigger than Disney, bigger than Mickey Mouse. Charlie Kirk's body isn't even buried, and ABC affiliates are refusing to air his show. They're on the brink of an advertiser boycott, and this guy's not even in first place. And he says, let's go another round. So the boss said, take a breather, Jimmy. You're costing us a fortune and making us look like we don't have a conscience. After the biggest assassination since Martin Luther King, the face of your network can't lie about the shooting and pin it on MAGA. Sounds like an easy call to me. But the left thinks America as a country is finished.
This is a major moment in American history. This is a crossing of the Rubicon.
There may be no democracy to save a year from now. This is a red alert moment.
If you're not paying attention now and doing something about it, well, then you're going to have to sit down the rest of your life because democracy is being taken away.
Ribs want libs to do something about it. Well, they already shot Trump and killed Charlie. What does he have in mind? Charlie Kirk got murdered in cold blood for speaking his mind. But a comedian getting suspended is the turning point in American history? Fang Fang's boy toy, who never fought for any of your jobs, is fighting for Jimmy's.
You are wearing a hat. What does that hat say?
You're damn right I am, John. I was a guest on the Jimmy Kimmel show. He every night has a right to come into any house that wants to watch and entertain Americans, just as Greg Gutfeld on Fox has a right to be not funny and go on his network and entertain.
You don't have a right to say whatever you want on network television. They're public airwaves. You're not going to get thrown in jail if you drop the F-bomb or crack an ethnic joke, but you're not going to last long. Network television has standards of decency, decorum, taste. Legally, what's on the public airwaves is supposed to serve the public interest. Lying about a crime is actually a big no-no on the networks. They can lose their license. Now, Jimmy Kimmel's not entitled to his job. He said the wrong thing, and now he's in a little trouble. It's happened to a lot of us on TV. ABC suspended Brian Ross for pinning a shooting on the wrong guy. Sound familiar? Whoopi for mangling the Holocaust. Bob Greasy for a taco joke. And they fired Limbaugh and Roseanne for racial stuff. ABC fired Bill Maher for calling the 9/11 hijackers brave.
We have been the cowards, lobbing cruise missiles from 2,000 miles away.
Absolutely.
That's cowardly.
That's
Staying in the
terrible.
airplane when it hits the building. Say what you want about it, not cowardly.
Did he have a right to say that? Yeah. Was that the wrong thing to say right after 9/11? Yeah. We were still pulling bodies out of the smoking rubble at Ground Zero. And Maher was calling Al-Qaeda courageous and America a bunch of wimps. He didn't get sent to prison, just to HBO, where a guy with his material belongs. Toobin got caught playing naked solitaire on the work Zoom. CNN suspended him, and now he's back. Sometimes we screw up, and Jimmy screwed up. Maybe he comes back. But why is Kimmel so special?
America is a less free place if late-night comedians cannot do and say what they want. Of course, they can be tuned out. People can change the channel. That's how we vote. That's how we have our say in America. But this really does have a chilling effect across the American media.
First of all, it wasn't a joke. He blamed the right for killing Charlie with a straight face. It was a lie, and it puts a target on the right's back. And second, can late-night comedians on TV tell racist jokes? Can they tell Jewish jokes? Can you tell gay jokes on network TV? Can they talk about how fat and ugly their bosses are? Of course not. I don't think Kimmel should be fired for a bad joke or even this comment. But there are standards in show business. Everyone in the business knows it. If he wants to tell lies and make scornful comments about half the country and get really edgy, get a podcast or do it on Netflix. Do you think Johnny Carson, before Kennedy's funeral, could say it was the Catholics that shot him in Dallas? Everyone's making this about free speech. It's about business. You can't run a business when your employees make you look bad. And people are threatening not to put your product on the shelf. And when you ask your employee to apologize, he says, F you. Straight to HR, Kimmel. And is Kimmel even worth it? Look at his ratings from the last 15 years. Look at that. He should have been let go a long time ago. He assassinated his own numbers. The Disney stock price, that hasn't gone up in the last 4 years. This isn't about censorship. This is about math.
This is misery, and in the world of somebody who is an authoritarian, maybe a dictatorship, sooner or later everyone is going to be touched.
Obama says the First Amendment is dead. Quote, this is precisely the kind of government coercion that the First Amendment was designed to prevent. And media companies need to start standing up rather than capitulating to it. Do David and Barack understand that Trump didn't suspend Kimmel? His boss, Bob Iger, suspended him. And Obama knows a lot about government coercion. His IRS targeted the Tea Party. Biden forced big tech to censor us for telling the truth about COVID and for telling funny jokes about Fauci. And the same people complaining now loved that. They wanted more of it. Since the beginning of television, hosts have been suspended for being wrong, dumb, racist, sexist, obnoxious, crass, crude. They're so out of touch with who Charlie was and what he symbolized and the threat level we're all facing that they can't show the grace and empathy that you'd expect from a healthy, well-adjusted adult. Kimmel's not the victim. Charlie was. Charlie's dead. Kimmel's on paid vacation. This could have all been avoided if Kimmel had just cleaned it up the next night. One of the reasons he didn't is because he's disconnected. He doesn't have Republicans on his show. He doesn't talk to people outside his bubble. He doesn't understand anyone he disagrees with. He doesn't know anyone he disagrees with. If he did, whole thing would never have gotten this far. And this is a problem that affects the whole party. They rally around the wrong guys. Guys like Colbert and Kimmel and Avenatti, Smollett or the Maryland dad. Rich snobs, liars, crooks, and illegals. But they won't rally behind families or workers or cops or people like Irina who get stabbed to death on a train. Or heroes like Daniel Penny who saved people from being stabbed to death on a train. Or even just the idea of Charlie Kirk, someone whose life was taken just for talking to them.